if a lot of people actually saw what it takes to make this stuff work, a lot of people wouldn't opt in for it. I don't think the vision becomes unclear. I think the roots become unclear. You can't be an artist in 2026 and not understand the business. It just doesn't make sense, because then you just want an expensive hobby.
Hi, I'm Alex Brees, founder of Unheard Music, and welcome to the Find Your Frequency podcast. This is the podcast where we talk to people who have built something from nothing, whether that's artists, founders, investors, and they're all united by the same obsession of like, how do you get people to care? You know, and today's guest, really excited to have Ibrahim Kamara here. Ibrahim, thanks for joining us. Long history of building business, brands, culture, community. You know, I don't want to say culminating because I don't think it's done yet, but, you know, culminating in the Natural History Museum Gala, like incredible event space impact that you've had on the industry. So thank you for joining us.
No, thanks for having me.
And I'd love to start at the start. You know, like if we go all the way back to you at school, you know, I think I read online about you, you know, selling Lucozade and selling things at school. That business entrepreneurial mind was obviously there. Talk to me about that. What was the motivation and like,
I'm from South London, and I think South London just has an inherent hustle. It instills a hustle in you. And yeah, when I was growing up, I used to be one of those kids that would sell stuff, but it was mainly because when I was in like year 7, my dad and mum split up, and then there was like a lot of financial burden on my mum because she had like 6 kids. And I just needed a way, because she used to give us she used to have to give us all like £10 a week, but I think at that time it was quite a lot because she got like a lot of kids like similar to age. So I just wanted to make my own kind of money in a way that was legal. So yeah, I used to be the kid that would like sell Lucozade. I'd buy Lucozade like at Iceland for, I wonder if they do it anymore, but it was like 6 for £3. And then you like freeze them and then like sell them for £1 each. But then I would also sell donuts. I would sell chewing gum, bubble gums. But then I also asked I asked her for some money to get my mic, but I also built a studio in school. So I built a studio in my house, and people used to come from the local area, used to come and record at my house for like £20 an hour. So yeah, I kind of always had that entrepreneurial spirit, but I think the studio merged the creativity and business. I think that was like my first instance in like merging the two worlds.
Wow.
Yeah.
You know, we talk a lot about like there's usually a personal like motivation that allows people to achieve some sort of success, like whether it is like there's a financial burden on the family, or you know, you lost a loved one, or like you were overlooked as a kid, whatever it might be. So that's really pertinent here. It's like, you know, you had a mission and you come up with a solution to that. It's like, how did you understand the business side, I suppose, of doing that? Because like, as a kid, you know, I could probably buy some things to myself and sell them, but maybe I'd like drink half of them myself. You know, I don't think I'd quite grasp onto it at that age.
I think for me, my dad was an entrepreneur. And he's from Sierra Leone, and when he came over to England, he set up a money transfer business. And because a lot of Sierra Leoneans migrated to like South London, Peckham, a lot of them would come to England and want to send money back home. And my dad's business was at the time like the main business that people were sending money through to go back to Sierra Leone. And it was a money transfer / internet cafe. So from young, I was in that, like seeing Excel sheets and logging people onto the computer. So I kind of was in and around that. And I think I grasped the concept of money quite early from, just being around that and actually seeing money in real life. And then, when it came to school and selling stuff, I just knew I needed to sell it for more than what I bought it, to be honest. But yeah, literally that was it. I think it was just trial and error, like any business. I think with business, you're not gonna know it all at first. But I think books can show you one way and you can watch stuff, but experience is one of those things that you can't just learn. You've got to go through it. So I think with that, you just learn the craft as you go on.
To be honest, is and we talked about this with a guy called Josh Denzel, who's like TV presenter and stuff. Is I was like not great at school, just I couldn't sit still, you know, to be honest with you. And like when I left school and left university, like got a 2-2, you know, didn't quite get to where I wanted to necessarily. And I thought that was a bit of a failure, but and then now I've been on this journey of like building a business. My motivation is actually like, can I show people that maybe weren't that great at school that there are other ways?
100%.
And learning on the job, that's exactly what.
100%.
You know,
it even like when you go through the academic route, experience is such an important part of you getting a job. So whether it's business, whether it's a 9-to-5, the real life experience is always going to be needed more than the school stuff. And you hear so many stories of people going through the whole school phase, and because they don't have enough experience or network, they can't actually get in. So really experience is always going to be more important than what's said in the books and whatnot.
Do you think about that? How do you think we can change that in terms of, because I've started thinking more recently about the education system, and I couldn't impact it right now, but in the future, you know, I'd love to try and make an impact on the way we're educating people, you know, and I think the way we're inspiring kids as well, because I sometimes think, if I think back to classrooms that I sat in, the reason maybe I wasn't focused is because I wasn't inspired, you know, and no slate on the teachers, because I think they do a great job and they're underpaid and blah, blah, but like I didn't feel like, this is what I want to be, and this is, you know?
I think we're in a place right now where the world is giving the kids the education more than the school, I think. I feel like it's easy for a child to be inspired now because of how much access to what's possible there is. I think when we was growing up, there was only set things that were shown as what's successful or what's possible. It was like a clear A, B, C, D, E, like that's the route you're meant to go. Where I feel like the generation coming up have so many different role models or different people to aspire to, or different roles or different jobs that are there, that they can actually see people who've done it. So they're probably even more inspired than what we were, because they can actually see it. That's what I think.
It's so true. And how do you think about, because I think about this sometimes, is like, I feel like entrepreneurship sometimes is glorified.
100.
And like, you know, whether it's Stephen Bartlett or whoever it is saying like, you should start a business, like you should, but like actually when you're doing it, and you know this better than anyone, like it's really fucking hard, like it's tough. And actually there are better routes for some people to go, where it's like, go and work for PwC or Universal, or, because that's a great route to go down. 100%. But people aren't talking about that. What do you think about that?
I feel like entrepreneurship is very glorified, and I feel like if a lot of people actually saw what it takes to make this stuff work, a lot of people wouldn't opt in for it. I feel like I think the positives are great. And the positives are amazing. But there is a lot of negative things that I don't think the average person is going to be able to withstand. And there's a lot of sacrifice, whether that be family, friends, or even yourself, that it takes to like grow and build something. And I just don't think that's for everyone. And I don't think it should be glorified. Like if I'm honest, I feel like a lot less people should be entrepreneurs, because I don't think the reason to be an entrepreneur should be just because I want my own time, or I feel like if you're trying to solve a problem, 100%. But I do feel like we have a generation of people who just want to be entrepreneurs and business people because of financial freedom and etc. But you can have financial freedom in a job. You can have all of those things without having a business. I think it's therefore something that's put on a pedestal that I don't think should be put on a pedestal. Obviously, I'm sitting in that position where I've built something. But I also know how much it's how much is taken out of me.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that's always worth it.
Yeah.
If you know what I mean.
And how rare it is to actually go on the journey you've been on and have success.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, like some people go on that journey and like it doesn't work out and they got to start again. And can we talk about, you said how much it's taken out of you?
Yeah, yeah.
Because my own experience here is like 4.5 years into building Unheard, and I've started to think more recently about the impact that this is going to have on my health in like 20 years' time. What do you think when you think back on your journey? I mean, you're still on the journey.
Yeah, yeah.
What sort of impact do you think it's had on you?
I think not appreciating the moment is really really had that effect on me of like not appreciating the moments when they're there and always wanting to go to the next and always thinking about the next big thing and always thinking about what to do more, etc. And you do that constantly, and then you get to my stage where it's like 11 years in and you don't even remember half of the stuff, or like you can't even remember they're like really, really good times.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Because you're so focused on the next. I also feel like people don't want to work for people or want to be entrepreneurs because they want to do business and whatnot. But when you're an entrepreneur, when you're a founder, you're ultimately working for everyone. Like it's so bizarre. So you are the boss or you are the person in charge, but ultimately everything kind of depends on your ship until you pass it on. But you're going to be the last to get paid. You're going to be the last for a lot of things because you have to put the business and the people that work for you and all of that kind of stuff in front of you.
Yeah.
And even that's like a mental challenge.
Yeah.
Because you could be working really, really hard. And if you're in a job, you might not need to work hard, but you're still going to get paid. Where you could be leading something and work really hard and then still don't get paid.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So there's just like a lot of mental battles that you go through. And again, the highs are really high and the lows are really low.
Yeah.
And I don't think that average person goes through that fluctuations at that disparity.
Yeah.
I don't think the average person is going to have those really super highs where you've made so much money and then you're so happy you've got everything, but then have that the real crazy lows that you can't even imagine. I think most people are not going to go through that spectrum.
Yeah.
And I think that spectrum generally does have an effect as well. I think it's better to stay steady in the emotions rather than have here and there.
Yeah.
And I think the entrepreneurship cycle will have you there, I think.
Do you know what I've found is interesting is like, and I'm smiling because I'm
you know what I'm saying. Yeah.
And the highs and lows can happen in such a short
space of time, bro.
And then also, I can't talk to anyone else. I feel I can't talk to anyone about it because they're not going to understand through it too. 100%. And then also, when I'm in real life, away from business, I sometimes feel myself wanting to feel more. But because all of my feelings and energy have gone into this, I can't feel.
Yeah. 100%. See, for me, it's only now when I came back to music that I've made it my sole focus to every single moment in my journey to appreciate. I genuinely write down every little thing that's happening just so that I can make sure I appreciate this journey and for me to not make the same mistake again. And I think it's allowing me to feel where I don't think business allowed me to feel. It just allows me to run, or it requires me to just run. It doesn't require me to feel.
Yeah.
And I think that's the difference in my journeys right now. And obviously I'm still in business, but I am making a conscious effort to feel through music. Yeah.
This is, I think this is a topic that's quite close to my heart, because I want to find others who I can help, who are on the journey, who are maybe earlier on in the journey, And also I want to be able to share with people who understand. So, that's something I'm thinking about a lot at the moment. So it's very topical that we went there.
Mm-hmm.
And you said that you're coming back into music now. And when we left off in terms of your sort of origin story, I suppose, was you had the studio, you're selling donuts, selling Lucozade. What's happened in the last, you said 11 years, can you talk us through what happened post setting up the studio and how it came about to form the media empire almost?
Yeah, so started music at 11 when that's around the time I had the studio. Anyone that knew me from 11 till about 21 knew me for music. That like everyone thought I was going to be a grime MC. That was like what the whole area knew me as. Lost all my music. On my computer, I bought a Mac Mini from eBay and it just randomly broke. No. And it lost all my music. And that was at a time where didn't really know about like streaming and stuff wasn't around. So the routes to money of music was just like get signed and you think kind of thing. Lost all my music, then started business at 21. While I was in my third year of uni. I was meant to do a placement year, but didn't get one. So going into my fourth year, built out Guap with my business partner. And it literally started with no money. I had a camera that I used to use to shoot videos for my music. And with that camera, I literally just went around London, like used to bunk uni sometimes to come to London to just like interview different creatives. And slowly but surely, it became this community. I think when we came up, being a creative wasn't really a thing. So when we was documenting all of these creatives and putting them together on this platform, it kind of helped to shed light on all the different types of creatives there are in the city. And yeah, doing that one time after the other, it just became what it is today. I think that's the like roots
Crazy.
of it. Yeah.
And you said that slowly but surely, and I think that's important because in this day and age, we live in such an immediate society.
Yeah.
And we see so many artists who naturally they want to cut through, they want to break through, and the expectation is I'm going to do it in 6 months, I'm going to do it in 12 months. The reality is, it's a longer journey than that.
But I think that's why I know my music is going to work.
Yeah.
Because with Guap, there wasn't a plan. Or there wasn't something to look at to see how it's going to work. It took about 6 years for Guap to start making some money.
Wow.
And we're now at 11 years. So because I've gone through a journey where one is taken long and there was no plan, with music, there's so many different examples of being an independent artist and making it work.
Yeah.
But knowing that it's going to take bodies of work and just constantly putting out music, how can I not make music work when I made something that had no plan work, where music has a clear plan, clear, as long as I do the work and I'm willing to do that longevity in the journey, it's going to work kind of thing. I think that also helps that side of things for me, yeah.
And I think the point you mentioned there about 6 years, that is like, that's inspiring, to be honest, because a lot of people, again, going into the business side, they want to build something, they maybe raise some money or they start a startup and there's a 3 to 5 year plan. Right? And then we're going to sell it in 5 years' time. That's not how it works, really. So can you talk me through like what that first 6 years was like? Like how were you surviving? How did you make ends meet, sort of thing?
So after uni, I don't know if they do it anymore, but you have like a free overdraft.
Yeah.
I had one that was like £1,000. And I would work from my dad's shop. And I would go from Surrey Keys to Peckham walking. Wouldn't take bus and stuff. With that overdraft, I financed a MacBook and a camera. So it was like £40 a month for the MacBook. And then the camera was like £30 a month. It was a Canon 70D. And just used that to like shoot and stuff. I was living at home, so I didn't really have to pay rent. And when I was working, I was basically like helping my dad out in the shop, but working on my own stuff as well. He was giving me like £20 a week, but then obviously while I was there, I was getting food and whatnot, and just hustled through that. Living in the overdraft, I might do it like a random camera job here. So like someone might ask me to take pictures for like £150, like just doing like random jobs. But I lived in that overdraft because it was overdraft. It was interest free for like 2 years or 3 years.
Yeah.
So just lived in that while I was hustling.
Love that. And you know, I think you shared something really good there, which is about like saying yes to making it work.
Yeah.
Like I remember someone who we had on a podcast was like, I said yes to everything at the start, and that allowed me to then go on this. And again, I think that's important for the community listening is put yourself out there.
100%.
Do you know what I mean? It's really important.
Put yourself out there, but then also don't stop learning. I learned all of my skills from YouTube, and then going and practicing what I learned on YouTube in real life. And you learn so much in those like early days. Like I had one of our first interviews with Guap was with Gigs. And we done an interview and the audio messed up. I've never messed up audio again. Do you know what I mean? But if I didn't do those early shoots or whatnot, wouldn't have got that experience kind of thing. So I think you just have to continuously be learning and making sure you're putting practice into the craft, I think.
What did you do with the gigs? Did you re-record it or just...
done. All I have of that day is if you go onto Guap's Instagram, if you go all the way to the bottom, you'll have a video of Gigs holding our first magazine saying Angtak Guap, but that interview never saw the light of day. But it was like an hour and a half conversation. But you live it, you learn. Yeah, that could have made us blow up early. That could have lesson. Yeah, so that could have made us blow up early.
And what was is there a moment you can reflect on now and you go, that was a step change for us, like that was the moment where things started to change and we started to, you know, you've worked with the biggest brands in the world now, so how did that sort of come about?
Yeah, I feel like every phase has its like lever of like change. I want to put it down to like one specific moment. Okay. But all of if I'm honest, on our journey, all the brands kind of came to us seeing what we was building with the community. And I guess the lesson in that is like focus on your community and your own industry, and the industry will come. So we just was documenting these creatives. That was like our sole focus. It wasn't like, how do we get to the brands? And I think once you get one brand, you're able to leverage it to do the others. So it was really just like focusing on the community that we're building, documenting the stories, and just like being continuous in our messaging and like staying true to it. I think that was what we was doing.
And you said that it was sort of unplanned, like you didn't have a plan, like you were just going. So how did you, I'm interested there, how you kept the messaging, was that just coming from like, that was coming from you?
The initial reason for Guap was to like give young people who came from like similar backgrounds to us, tangible like role models to look up to. So when I was growing up, everyone wanted to be like footballers or like rappers or whatnot. But it was about showcasing all of the other types of creatives you can be. Because most of the magazines and platforms that came from culture were just specifically music. Yeah. So that was the sole reason. So our mission was just to like find these creatives and tell their story and do it based on who we think is sick. Rather than what the industry says. And I think by doing that, it gave us like an element of like taste making. Yeah. Because we were putting people on covers that probably wouldn't get a cover elsewhere. But then like when you look years down the line, it's like, oh, wow, we had this person or we had that person.
Yeah. And who are the people that you look back to now where you spoke to them who have been on an incredible journey and maybe you helped them on that journey?
Yeah, I think there's people like Nux to J Hus to all the way to like Brent Faiyaz and Odile to who else is there? We done Leon Thomas the other day. Wow. Who else is there? Tossing Cole, actor. Like, honestly, it spans like people did at J5. Like, it literally spans across the creative stuff. But yeah, we've had covers with like a lot of those people. Most of them are their first covers. So
wow.
yeah.
And how do you something that I'm interested in, and I think people listening are interested in, is building community, because in the music world, everyone talks about the importance of having that 100 core fans, 1,000 core fans that are going to support you on your journey, but it's really hard to build that, and so is there something that you've thread through Guap, or you've seen through building Guap, that has helped you build a community that is like loyal, they're engaged, they've stuck with you on the journey, and they'll come to your live stuff, what do you think it is that's worked there?
I think with community, you've got to know what you stand for and be consistent in what you stand for. And I think the people who align to what you stand for will stick with you. I think if you're continuously putting out and then also continuously thinking about them first rather than what you gain, I think you will build a community. Yeah.
We have some values that we try and live by, and the first one is putting artists first at all times. And that's certainly something that I think has guided us with all the decisions we've made, and that's allowed us to start to foster a bit of a community.
Yeah.
But it's hard, because there's so much noise and distraction, and like, we could go on Instagram or TikTok now and see like probably like 20 other smaller Guaps now trying to do the same thing, or like same with Unheard, 20 other Unheard. So it's like, how do you cut through now? If you were to start now, have you thought about, would you do things differently, to cut through?
I think there's something you said there where I was like, it made me think, because for me, whether you have 10 people, whether you have 100 people, whether you have 1,000 people, it's all community. So I think it's not about whether it's smaller or bigger. It's more about if it's deeper than the other person. So I think there is no cutting through. It's like putting out the stuff, the community that rock with you. As long as you keep them happy, they'll bring someone. And every time you put something out, you get one more person into the community. And that's what matters. I don't think it matters about being, obviously people want the biggest communities and whatnot, but I think it's more about the depth rather than the size of the community.
Yeah, I really like that. And it also translates into a lot of things I'm seeing now, is like people want in real life connections, like want a deeper connection.
Deeper, 100%.
And how have you thought about that with regards to like Guap? Have you converted this, digital community into something that will engage with you in the live space? They will buy merch. They will do that. And was that a tough ask to ask your community for?
I think so I have like 2 communities that I run somewhat. So with Guap, I think it's hard. Like when we was doing like music events and whatnot, that was easy to convert. I think you kind of got to train your audience. So because we gave a lot of stuff for free, converting them to like certain things, like buying certain things, was a little difficult. But then when it was like buying things that will help them, so like let's say open up a podcast studio, etc., those things they would buy. So I think it's kind of understanding that consumer. But then I have a community around my music called Forever Free.
Yeah.
And that's got like 4,000 people. And that's like where I push out my music and like share my thoughts and whatnot. That consumer is more of a creative entrepreneur. So converting that audience to buy has been a lot easier.
Yeah.
So like I can sell templates, I can sell journals, etc. to this audience.
That's cool.
But I might not be able to sell that to the Guap audience. So I think it's kind of knowing what your audience likes or what they would react to, and just being aware of that kind of thing. Yeah.
You know, the value exchange that you talked about there is so interesting because when we talk to artists, they're like, I'm going to do a pre-save campaign. I'm going to ask my fans to pre-save my track before it's out. And it's like, okay, cool. So you're asking them to do something. Like, what's the value exchange?
What's the value exchange?
You know, what have you given them to encourage them to do that? And it's the same when you're like, I want to collect email addresses for my community. Great. Like, what are you giving them? You know, and I think like people often overlook that, or like artists that we've spoken to have overlooked that, you know, and again, that goes back to building communities.
Yeah, I think that's what it is. I think it's the same thing as like collaboration. Yeah. When people talk about community and talk about collaboration, most of the time they're thinking about it or speaking about it from an approach of what can I gain rather than what can the community gain or what can the other side gain.
Yeah.
And I think if you approach it with the viewpoint of how can I bring value to the other side, or how can I bring more value to them than I'm going to get, it's not going to be hard to build community. It's going to be hard if you're just thinking about yourself first and how you will benefit.
It is so interesting because I wanted to talk about when a community becomes a business, whilst also protecting the community, because you don't want to just sort of like we talked about, exploit them. But it feels as if maybe in your experience it's happened almost like organically. Is that fair to say? And and do you think that the driving force behind it being able to become a business, or like with Guap being attractive for brands, was the fact that you just had this like really strong community?
I think, I don't know if it was all, no, I wouldn't say it's organic because we always wanted it to become a business.
Yeah.
And I used to model myself after like Vice. That was like our inspiration.
Yeah.
So I don't think it was organic, but I think it was organic to grow and just like care about the community. That was organic. Yeah. But we always knew the route that we was gonna, not actually we didn't always knew, but we tried to work out how we was gonna make money from the business, because we did want this to be the thing that would like fund our lives and buy us houses and all that kind of stuff. Just didn't have like the clear route on how to do it. But yeah, the community building side of it was definitely organic. Yeah. It was literally like interview this person, take a picture with them. Now I'm in their network. Do this person, take a picture. Like it literally was like one step at a time.
And how do you protect the community when you've got the brands coming in? Because I guess there might be a temptation to just over exploit in some senses. Like how do you manage to balance that? Like the money's there, but maybe the longevity is here. Like, you know, how do you meet those in the middle? Yeah,
I think you just got to, again, it's just like your own personal values. I don't think there's like a one answer fits all. It's more just if the person cares or not. And I think if you know yourself and you're true to what you know, them kind of decisions won't be hard or difficult. Yeah. And again, it's like, if you have those values, like you said, putting artists first, if you're thinking from that point of view, anything that challenges that, you know, is a no, innit? It's just whether you know yourself enough to stick to that.
And to be honest, that value has been, although it's our first value, and I've talked about this before, I think, but it's like the hardest one for me because I think you'll know this, but like as you grow as a business and you get a team and you end up doing more like investor relations or whatever it is you're doing.
Money.
Yeah, you get further and further from the people you're doing this for. So for me, that's always been the value where I've got to like check myself and say, hang on, without the artists, we've got nothing.
There's nothing, yeah.
You know, that has been really hard. And what motivates you now? Because you've had this amazing journey, like well publicized, great success. What has it changed, you know, the motivating factor? Because it seems like at the start it was about creating opportunity for those that didn't necessarily have it and could inspire others. Is that still the thing?
As in like what's pushing me now?
Yeah.
I don't feel like I'm successful, if I'm honest. Like I don't feel like I've hit my full potential.
Great.
Yet. And I think that pushes me. I feel like until I reach that point where I'm like, no, this is me and I've done what I really want to do, I don't feel like I'm gonna stop.
Yeah.
So like for me, before entrepreneurship and stuff, music is what I wanted to do. So I feel like until I make that dream like a real fruition where I'm living in it day to day, I don't feel like I'm gonna feel successful, or I don't feel like I'm finished yet.
Yeah.
I just have a vision for myself.
Yeah.
And until I reach that vision of myself, I don't feel like I'm gonna stop. That's just the reality. I think because my vision is so clear of who I am and who I want to be. Until I get to that point, I can't stop. That's just how my brain's wired. So it's amazing. I've done things that people say are good or whatnot, but I know where I'm meant to be, or I know what I see of myself. So until then, just got to keep going.
And how, and so the vision is, or like not the end goal, but where you want to get to is to be living in the music, like day to day, full time, going on tour, being in the studio. Is that fair to say?
What I see for myself is I want to be like an advocate and a face for like independent music and independent artists. I kind of want to be like the Larry Junes, Nipsey Hussles, like those independent artists who are in the intersection of like music and business.
Yeah.
So I want to be able to show other independent artists that you can do this independently, get to a level where you might not be super famous, but you're sustainable and you're living a good life. I think for me, that's what I want. I want my music to be like my wealth plan, where it's like I own my catalog and I'm making my royalties every week, every month, and I'm able to pass that on to my children. That's what success looks like for me. So I think that's why I know my journey is a long one, because it's a catalog game for me. That's what success looks like for me. So that's what I'm aiming for, to be honest.
So inspiring. You know, I think what's been interesting for us is we used to have artists coming to us saying, I want to get 1 million streams in week one. Right. And honestly, the conversation around like marketing and creative was pretty boring, like playlisting, blah, blah, blah. Now it's like, cool, I want to make 50K this year. That's so much more interesting because you can be like, community, WhatsApp, like Discord, like selling merch, going on tour, like blah, blah. It's so much
100%.
more sustainable and creative.
100%. I think for me, I've got a studio in my garden. Like I've built like a home studio. So for me, it's just like, I just want to be one of those artists that records music, puts out the music, bodies of work every year, have fans who like just care about what I do. I don't have to be, and just have that on a global basis. So being able to go to different cities and find those people who are in my community. So my community is called Forever Free. And it's like, like if I can find those people who have that mindset of Forever Free everywhere, I'll be happy.
I love that.
Yeah.
And when can we hear new music?
Yeah, I dropped a song. Well, I don't know when this is coming out, but I dropped a song out this week, and that's coming out. The music video is coming out on Sunday, and then I'm dropping a body of work next month. And then I've got another 2 projects coming this year as well. So I should have like 3 projects out this year.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
We'll be listening.
Yeah, please do.
And I just want to touch on, I got 2 more bits I want to touch on. One is you talked there briefly about the clarity of vision that you have. And speaking personally, I've got a vision and there's a mission behind it, but it's sometimes hard to keep the clarity because there's so much noise and distraction, and that might change. But when I hear people who have had success talk, is like the clarity of vision is so poignant. So how have you held on to that clarity throughout, with all this noise that's been going on around you for the last, 10 years? Have you been distracted? Has that changed and become cloudy, or is it something you've just stayed true to? And how have you managed that?
I don't think the vision becomes unclear. I think the roots become unclear. So I feel like what you want and what you see for yourself, vision you have for yourself is there, but because of all of the noise of the world, you might start double thinking or overthinking and thinking of an alternative route, etc., etc. But I think what you want, you're always gonna, that's always gonna be clear. So I think I've had that where you start questioning and whatnot. But what I want has always stayed consistent. That hasn't been hard to follow. What's been hard to follow is the path and going through the things it's going to take, or the things that you don't even plan that's going to happen while on your way to what you see for yourself, I think.
Yeah, I think you're right, because when I have those moments, it's because I'm probably in a period of like high stress or something.
Yeah.
You know, and so it's like, then I'm distracted of, okay, I've got to do this, I've got to do this, or is this the right thing to be doing? Whereas when you can reset and settle, then I think it becomes clear again.
100%. And also, that North Star can change as well, and that's okay. I feel like on paper, I got everything that I said I wanted when I was like 21, and then got to it, and then it's not everything I want anymore. And my North Star has now like completely changed. And for a while, like you doubt if that's the right decision, but if it's what you want, that's what you want. Yeah. So I think it's okay for that North Star to change, because who you are when you made the North Star might not be who you are when you get the North Star.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
100%. And what advice, you know, given your position in culture, the creative space, like music, as an artist as well, what advice would you give to artists starting out now, given, I guess, how different the landscape is to when you started, 11 years ago? What would you say that artists should be doing now to help them build that sustainable career?
I'll say 3 things. The first thing I would say for any artist is to understand who you are. Because I think if you understand who you are, that's going to shape everything. It's going to shape your branding, it's going to shape your sound, it's going to shape everything that you need for other people and yourself to join this journey. So try and do as much as you can to find out who you are and what you represent as the foundation.
Can I ask about that before the second point is, how do you find that out? And I'm just thinking about personally, I've been thinking about who I am a little bit more recently, because I think maybe I haven't been honest with who I am. So then I've been a bit lost in terms of like, is this really who I am? And then you start to accept your flaws and you go, well, that's, I'm working on it, but those are my flaws and that's okay. But it takes some sort of stillness and time for you to actually consciously lean in and think about that. Is there anything that you could share to understand like who you are,
I think it's exactly what you said. It's taking the time to actually study yourself. I think we go through life studying this and learning this and learning this and learning that, but we hardly take time out to just sit down and learn about ourselves.
Yeah.
And I think a lot more people need to do that, to actually like sit down and, like you said, tackle your strengths, tackle your weaknesses, and actually look at the person in the mirror and actually really try to understand that. I think that's just a journey that every individual needs to do outside of music, outside of business. You should do that, because again, the clearer you know yourselves, I think it's just going to be easier for you to navigate the world. Because I think, we live in a society where up until that point, you're probably told what to do. You're probably told what you like. You think you like this because of this. You think you like this because of that. There's so many influences on who you are.
Yeah.
And I think you have to take that second of solitude to really question yourself and question what you're into, etc., etc. And I just think it will just have positive results.
Yeah.
I would say.
And I was like scared to go there.
Yeah.
I was like, because I knew things I didn't like about myself.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
I was just like putting them to the side. But when I think you go there and you just acknowledge it and go, well, that is who I am.
Yeah.
And like, I don't love it, but I can work.
Yeah.
It was almost like a bit of a
Revelation.
Yeah, revelation.
Yeah. But I feel like you will be surprised how many people haven't done that.
Yeah.
Like most people probably haven't done that. Like, and it's not something that happens overnight, but it's definitely something you should face. But I think there's definitely more good than bad that comes from that. Yeah.
So one is get to know yourself, who you are, and then you can be authentic with it, I suppose.
And then I would say upskill yourself. I think in today's day and age, the information's out there. So you should do your best to have like a basic knowledge on everything that's required to make your music business work, because at the end of the day, it is a business. So you need to understand the business side of your craft if you want to make it a career. So I would say do everything you can to learn the business, but then also upskill yourself so that you're able to have that basic knowledge, so that when people do join your team or you do get support, etc., you're in a position where you can actually have conversations from someone who actually understands rather than being clueless.
Yeah. And so that's upskilling on the production side, publishing, PRS, getting to know it.
You can't be an artist in 2026 and not understand the business. It just doesn't make sense, because then you just want an expensive hobby.
Yeah.
do you know what I mean? Like if you want this to be a career, you need to understand the business of it. Yeah. So
that's really cool.
That's what I'd say.
Love that. And was there any?
I think I've tied the last one. It was the thing around like just understanding the business.
Okay.
Yeah.
Love that. And then I always like to end on this question, which is, if you were to, well, I've got two questions actually. One, you touched on this already, but is hypothetically starting Guap now, is there anything you do differently? Again, given the landscape we live in and how crowded it is, or would you go at it again knowing perhaps that you can cut, it's not cutting through like you said, but you know, you can have the same success?
I think starting again, I probably would go direct to consumer a lot earlier, and like building out like email list and doing a lot more like paid stuff.
Yeah.
Even like maybe trying like build out like a subscription model or something. I feel like I would have tried to do that. Yeah. If I was starting again. Yeah. Because even if you can grow that over years, it will be fruitful.
Yeah. Is it that's the way artists are thinking now as well, isn't it? Which I do like, because it takes the power away from the rented audience on socials or the streaming platforms, and you can go direct into your fan base now without that middleman, which I think is cool.
I think it's definitely the way. I think if you're an independent artist, the model is, if you want to win, the model is drop bare music, build products and experiences around the music, and then repeat. Yeah, that's literally the model. Drop bare music, drop some product, go tour the music, and then rinse and repeat. Yeah. If you can do that multiple times, it's gonna grow and grow, and then you'll have a sustainable career. Yeah. I think too many independent artists now just think about the dropping the music part. Yeah. But I think you need the other parts if you want to be a successful independent artist. Yeah.
And would you bring a label in at any point? Is there a point in your journey where you go, do you know what? I need the labels, international reach.
Yeah, I think never say never, but I would opt in for a distribution deal. Like that's what my aim is. My aim is to build as much leverage as I can independently. And then when the time's right, find like a distribution partner. Because again, like I said, there's models of how this stuff works, and all the independent artists that I aspire to be like, that's the model that they've done. Yeah. So they've built their own ecosystem and foundation outside of the label system.
Yeah.
And then when the time's been right, they've been able to go in on a partnership level and partner with a distributor and get funds to excel what they're doing. So I think that's like my aim.
Yeah. And we're doing more and more work with artists that have done the distribution deal, and we then become the preferred marketing partner. But even huge, like Adekunle Gold, we're doing Adekunle now. He's got a distribution deal, and like we're leaning in, and it's definitely becoming the way to
100%.
The way to go.
100%, because ultimately a label is relationships and services. So if you're able to relationship, services and funding. If you're able to get the funding, if you're able to build your own relationships, the missing part is services. And if you can get that from another partner, then not that you don't need the label, but you'll be able to build your own thing. Yeah.
And then my final question, which I always like to end on, is was there one milestone that you set to reach when you first started out? Maybe let's do for Guap, and then because music, I've got a good idea of where you want to get to. That you set when you started out. Did you reach it? And has it changed now? So is there a new milestone perhaps that you're pushing towards?
Yeah, I think honestly, my milestone from Guap was just being able to like buy a house, if I'm honest.
Yeah.
And then being able to like leave the heating on and have hot water all the time and stuff. If I'm being honest, I don't really have a lot of like wants. That was like one of the things that I wanted, like a house. So yeah, not really changed from that because I got my house. It's just like, yeah, everything else is a bonus. if I'm honest, that I just wanted to be able to like just, because I don't have a lot of wants. I just wanted to be able to just like live normal life and be good.
There's a lot of beauty in that.
Honestly,
like there's a lot of beauty in the simplicity, and I think for regardless of where you go on the journey and what you're looking for, what your motivations are, to be able to have that place where you can come back to is there's some it's important.
100%. Obviously I've got a 6-year-old son, so for me just like being able to give him that kind of like life growing up, but then also I don't leave my house. so I don't leave my house, so it's just nice to have somewhere that like I'm comfortable living in, because I don't be leaving my house.
Well, thank you for today.
Honestly, I really don't believe. And like I said, I just recently built my studio, my garden, so it's just like, unless I have to, I'm not coming outside.
And because I've got 2 girls. They're
sick.
both under 18 months, so it's been a tricky period. Thanks, that for me added a new sense of, I don't want to say pressure, but a new sense of responsibility, and maybe like a layer of a bit more emotion in it too. What about you when you had your somewhat? Did that change your outlook on the business side and the music side, or did it give you even more fuel to the fire?
I honestly, I think it also helped with like me wanting to do music more, because with business, I have to work. So it's like an exchange of like my time and effort now for the money. Where with music, if I spend a couple years like really just putting out a lot of music, building that catalog, I'll have wealth forever, and it's something that I can pass on. So looking at it like that, it just gave me more of a reason to want to do music, because I want to be able to, if I don't want to work for like 3 months or 4 months, because I've got this catalog of music that's like generating revenue, I can have that option. Where I think with business, I don't really feel like I have that option. Even though like people say, yeah, you're free or whatnot, I don't mentally have that freedom. So I think to have that mental freedom, my son therefore inspired that. So I can just be around as well, and like we can do stuff and not have to like, think about work.
Love that. Well, I think that's a beautiful way to end. So thanks thanks so much
No
for
worries.
sharing.
Thanks for having me. Good conversation, man.
Yeah, really enjoyed it, and inspiring, and hopefully inspiring for those listening. So
Big
thank
up
you so
one
much.
hurd.
Thanks, man.
No worries.